Alright guys, we're back. It's been like over 35 days since I have shared pretty much anything. And some of you guys may know I've been talking about the new brand. But if you're new here, welcome. We're doing here branded dropshipping. And this is something which I've seen. I mean, I've been in the space for more than 3 years, but especially over the past 6 to 12 months, I've seen so many changes. And branding right now is probably in the best shape and form because of AI. So I'll be sharing what I've learned. As you have seen the title of this video, it's definitely the biggest day I've ever made. And yeah, it was not done through the unethical route. That's all you need to know as a start, okay? Because trust me, when I say 10K day, unfortunately, is the new norm of 1K days. Like 1 year ago, if you were to see someone say 1K day, you'd be like, okay, that's a big deal. But especially for like this coming from me, like I was embarrassed at one point to say my biggest day was 1K day because of how many people I see saying they made 10K days. But the difference is they're all doing it through pump and dump, and not just any pump and dump, but the unethical one where it started with stitching and then it moved to AI begshipping. This is something which I've always been against, still very strictly against, never recommend. But unfortunately, that's where you see people getting, these crazy numbers like 10K plus per day, without even needing like a real brand. So I'm just making it very clear from now that we didn't even touch this uh, area of the game. It was actually done through the ethical route. Unfortunately, over the past few months, some were doubting. I mean, it's part of the game, right? You're always gonna have doubt. So hopefully this message or this video will show you that it's actually possible to get big numbers without actually, you know, selling your soul and doing this. So now that I've given you, all of this, not selling any courses, I'll say it from now. I've never been. And the only way you could actually see behind the scenes is actually working with me on the brand. So if you want to join the team, I literally give so much time and effort to every single member. If you would like to be part, let me know on Discord. And yeah, let's move on to the biggest factors which I believe had led to getting these numbers, okay? I'm gonna start off by saying, as usual, um, you need a good product. But what is a good product? Let's start off with that. So right now I would say there's so many routes for doing dropshipping in general. We've seen people selling really bad products, like literally no value with the product whatsoever. But because of how good the marketing is, people are buying the product. And this is the unethical route. They would sell, a random product, whether it's a handmade product or a pair of slippers. They're not buying it for the product anymore. So that's the first way of picking a good product, is something with a lot of emotion. So instead of going for, I mean, you could still apply this strategy, but doing it ethically. Okay, we've seen different examples. Just for the sake of this example, we're gonna say this little camera that you put on your chest, you would use it to show the last moments with your grandma, for example. So you would plug it on your chest and then go spend some time with family so that you would have these memories to remember. So I just paired a normal product with such a strong emotion to sell the product. And this is why you need to find a product or marketing angle that is associated with strong emotion. And I would say 5 or 6 out of 10 products nowadays are associated with strong emotion to sell the product. Another point is having a very passionate niche. This is once again a very strong point to selling a product, just like you've seen with Lord of the Ring products, Toothless. These products are targeted towards people who have some sort of emotion, preferably nostalgia, because nostalgia is one of the, if not strongest emotions to actually make someone buy. In fact, that's why these TV shows, the cartoon, you would see products that are sold for premium prices to retarget the people who used to watch it when they were young. I mean, we've seen this with like really big brands selling, merch for Batman and so on. Moving on. So now we have the passionate niche, emotion. Next point is, this is recommended, is to have some sort of real perceived value in the product. And there's a really good recent example for this product, the resin lamps. We've seen people make, again, 10K days with the resin lamp through this. I mean, it's a combination of these two, matter of fact. So it had a really passionate niche. I think they sold it for Lord of the Rings and pretty much every other angle. Like they became very innovative. And this is one thing I've been talking about for a while. When you find a winning product, try to speak with the supplier and come up with a new angle of that product. We've seen this primarily with the resin lamp over the past like 5 months. So the resin lamp is actually a big winner because of that reason. And again, perceived value. It doesn't look cheap. They're selling it for like 79 USD. And it can go up to like 250, I believe. I don't sell the products, I'm not sure. But it looks like it's worth the money. Hence why people buy it. You don't want to be selling, plastic products and then, put them at like $40 to $60, for example. But yeah, try to avoid these really cheap looking products. Now let's move on to, because these are really important. I want to move on now to the offers. Before the offer, let me talk about marketing, because that's even more important. I'm not gonna lie, people started copying our marketing angle and even strategy. So I would say we were one of the first people to take this approach. And if you have been watching the content, if you've been, following the journey, you would know that I've always been talking about being innovative with your marketing angle. It doesn't matter what product you pick. There's a point that you reach where the product becomes just a vessel of how you market. It's not really about the product anymore. So early 2026, we have seen everyone going for the unethical route. And the problem with it was that they were just copying each other. I'm literally repeating myself, which I was talking about 5 months ago, because this is what we did. Okay. So we have AI, because obviously AI is like the top tool today. Everyone was utilizing AI just to recreate the stitching crafting videos. Okay. So we're just gonna call it crafting. Everyone was using AI to recreate these videos or begshipping. But what they forgot was there's all the old formats which has been proven to work over the past years, which hasn't been done yet. And guys, I've been talking about this for a while. We did this, and this is a case study to prove that you could bring them back to life with AI and print. Okay, so find these old formats. Doesn't need to be very old. Just think about something which you were never able to do 1 year ago, 2 years ago, but now you could do. For example, couples niche. If you don't have a partner, you cannot, create content with them 1 year, 2 years ago. Now you could with AI. For example, the 3-2-1. People have started doing the 3-2-1 with AI. A lot of different, formats have been utilized with AI. So this same message I'm sharing today because this is what we did. It may appear like we were the first to do it, but it's been a proven concept. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We just brought it back with AI and did it better. So this same philosophy can be applied to any format. Right now, look at your product, your niche, look at the top performing angles and think, doesn't need to be something right now, angles and formats, and then ask yourself, how can I recreate this with AI? So this is really, really important. And this applies as well to flexibility. I guess I didn't mention it here, but at this point, it's very obvious. Flexible products are some of the best because it could be one product like this. You could market it infinitely into different angles by the help of AI. So these are some important notes. Let me think of something before I move on to offers regarding marketing. I'm gonna have to say this. I think we have reached a point where people are trying to be creative, innovative, rather than copy others, because there's the algorithm gets tired from a certain angle at a point. So for example, let's say you've gone viral with 3-2-1 angle or like format. You've done it so many times, you've generated hundreds of millions of views, but now you want to do something different. And even if you were to repost the old viral content, it wouldn't get a fraction of what you got originally. So that's where you need to be creative. And I see this a lot recently, myself included. We're trying to try non dropshipping formats. Try to just be on top of the trends in your niche and try these formats. Don't be afraid of trying something new. I think this confidence as well, it comes when you understand how to go viral. It doesn't need to be dropshipping content. In fact, if you go viral with non-dropshipping concepts, you're gonna more likely convert because it's gonna be more authentic people watching your content, not burners. So yeah, this is my final point: is that you need to be creative and have the courage to try something new. You don't want to just copy other dropshippers 24/7. You could even look for other niches, take their idea, apply to your niche. So there's a lot of things to test. And this is what I see actually the top 1% doing. They constantly try to do something new. All right, let's move on to offers. This is the exciting point because I know a lot of you guys may have gone viral and never converted. This is how to solve it. So firstly, you want to know whether you went viral for the right reason. Okay? If you went viral with controversy, just imagine you didn't go viral. You're not going to convert as much as you may think. So if you go viral for the right reason, you have a clear CTA, you know, the video was actually good, then we want to focus on the offer on the website. So the first thing is FOMO. So how can I get a good FOMO without looking too salesy? Because I've seen people who make it up to like 75% offer, and that's crazy. I would never do that unless there's a reason to, like Black Friday. So try to make it very, very understandable or realistic. Okay? Literally as low as 20% is good enough. Doesn't need to be crazy, 20 to 40. So this is my honest recommendation. Don't go for these flashy numbers like everyone does. And then 2 is with the stock. If you actually have low stock for a certain product, try to use that too. But oftentimes, you know, with dropshipping products, you don't really have stock issues. So I guess you cannot use this. So primarily focus on this one and have a list of like 10 brands or 10 winning stores and just check their website every week. See what offer they have, because the top stores will always have an offer. Whether it's Father's Day, we had Father's Day recently. Now we have July 4th, and moving on. There's always something to curate your store around. So be on top of this, and you're gonna be surprised how fast you can move when you have a list of people that you just check regularly. For example, last year I was shocked how early people started Black Friday sale. They started it on the first day of the month. So the moment I saw this pattern, multiple people were doing this, I had to follow, and it paid off drastically. So keep your eye on the top performance, even if they're outside of your scope. So create a good price, good offer around this price with an honest sale. That's 1. And then 2, if you actually have stock issues, be clear with it. It would actually help you. Thirdly is the timers. We almost forgot the free gift. This is the last piece of the puzzle. Free gifts is some of the best ways of creating a good offer, because you would make more profit by providing free gifts rather than having an additional 10% flat discount. So, and it actually looks high perceived value to the customer when you offer more gifts. So I'm not saying have a catching app with like, you know, these catching apps with like 10 different gifts. I'm not talking about that. In fact, I would only advise having 1 or 2 gifts. Otherwise it would look too bulky. So either you do it this way, or you have, you know, like the 3 catching, or let's say you sell 1 or 2, so 2 catchings, and then you'd have here like toggle. So you can toggle on and off for additional, but usually this is done for upsells. Some people do it for free gifts too, so you could do that. Just try to make it look very elegant, okay? You don't want to make it look too bulky. It just doesn't motivate someone to buy. Especially for someone who has never bought online, they'll be overwhelmed by it. So try to keep it very simple, very intentional with what you're offering as a free gift. So sweet spot would be like 2 gifts. Moving on to the mindset. I think that's a final point I would like to give today. The biggest difference between what I would say today versus when I, got my first 1K day is probably that your product needs to be you need to pick your products more intentionally in the sense that this is something which is gonna sell. Okay, you need to have some delusion to it at first, but this delusion nowadays is not as big as back then, because back then you had to, to prepare the lights, and record something which or someone may look at and be like, this is silly, would never sell. But today you don't even need to record, so this humbleness of sitting down and preparing the lights for recording a silly product is no longer required. So yeah, I would say the game has changed a lot. So you could test a lot of products nowadays at way faster pace, and you don't need, once again, this humble experience of recording. But you still need to have a sense of, can I scale this? I'd rather pick a product which I know I can scale. Um, Once again, like the this one, in my opinion, this was a very good product. Now, if someone really wanted to scale this, they could probably, make a general store of resin lamps. I'm sure they can run this for a very long time. But here's my argument. Okay, I would say people who made over 100K with the resin lamps, the only reason they would quit their store is because they did it unethically, like the marketing. So now they kind of just have to dip. If they did it, as a real brand, then they could literally scale this, make a custom product, custom version of the resin lamp, and just keep scaling. But that's the consequence of doing the pump and dump. You have to dump. So try to find these products like this, and I would say having a big IG, for example, or big Facebook, even better. It's like a big motivator to why you should stick to the product, TBH. So if you have a big page for something like this, I don't see a reason why you should dump it. Unless you've done it, once again, with bad marketing, then you don't know what else to market the product for. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. So try to build your brand on good foundation. Final point I want to give is probably about the post timing. I cannot stress enough how important this is. And the crazy part is, I see winning stores do this more strictly now than before. Like, they would only post during the window, the primetime window. I would say, if you really want to make sure it's the best timing, 6 till 7, 6 p.m. till 7 a.m. or maybe 6 CET. So yeah, post timing, just having a bunch of content or like formats which are dedicated to reinforcing the algorithm to getting you the right audience, not just prioritizing controversy. These are some tips, and not just relying on where the account is based, because truly it doesn't do much. It's just maybe one part of the puzzle. So these are some, lessons. This was a bit of a longer video, but wanted to give you guys, more of an updated video of what we've been up to and the top lessons I learned. And yeah, I'll probably make another video for IG, for Meta. And yeah, let me know what you guys want to see next. But expect me to be back. I haven't posted in a minute, so I'll try to be back more regular now. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.